Hello everyone, my name is Beemer and welcome to another Overwatch video. This video is going to be a little different from my other ones, as I will be answering your questions along with explaining various topics of Overwatch in general. I plan to do this every week, so submit your questions in the comments below and I will answer them in an upcoming video. This week's video will be discussing why you are losing in Overwatch. I have had the misfortune of losing a lot of games recently in Overwatch. At first I thought it was my team, so I did the obvious and complained to them. Did this help? No. So I sat back and said, I know it can't genuinely be my team, since I was the one constantly losing, regardless of what team I was on. I asked myself, what can I do to get better and decrease how many times I lose? For starters, you have to understand that I play at a high MMR. I didn't just get there overnight. Actually, I did. I have a lot of friends that know I'm capable of playing the game. That is why my solo MMR is so terrible, and why I decided to do my own research on this topic. I've been playing the game since the beginning of open beta, and a few open beta weekends during the closed beta. I have over 160 hours of experience in this game since launch. I know there are people with more hours than me, but at least I can justify that I know the game. So, why am I losing? At first, the obvious answer is to switch classes, but it can't be that. I do so well with McCree. I managed to pick off an average of 2 people before I die. That should be enough to get the team through, right? To answer that question, yes, it is enough, provided that your team is good enough to capitalize on what you did. The problem that you face in the same situation is that your team isn't actually good enough to capitalize. So how do you fix that problem? There has to be some way of switching heroes to compensate for it. Well, yes, in a way, you can switch to a different hero and do better because that particular hero counters more than just 2 of the enemy team. However, there is no point in switching heroes. You are better at your favorite hero than some random hero, regardless of how well-rounded you think you are. So, at this point, we've come to the conclusion that you don't actually suck. It's your team that sucks because they can't capitalize on your amazing plays. This is true, but it doesn't solve the overall problem. How do I win more? I'll tell you the secret. It's impossible to suck at Overwatch, and there's a hierarchy. Let me explain how it's impossible to suck at Overwatch. Basically, there's always a role that even someone with an IQ of 10 can play. As long as you know how to type, then you can ask your team for tips on how to play any hero. Just try your best, you'll win a lot more than you think. Now you may ask, what is this hierarchy? There's no such thing as a good hero. You have to be skilled at the hero to make that hero good. That's true, and this is why you're losing. You may be skilled at your hero, but the rest of the team has to be skilled at theirs too. This is why I created the hierarchy. Another thing I might note is that you should listen to my full explanation before arguing with me in the comments. I do go into very deep detail as to why I reason these ways. The hierarchy goes like this. Snipers are equal to supports, infiltrators are next, then damage. That's it. The image you're looking at explains this in very deep detail. Allow me to explain it through text as it can be very disorienting. On both attack and defense, a team must have a sniper, healer, damage, and infiltrator. There are 2 other roles that can be filled. One of them is most likely a tank, as it's one of the best damage soakers. The other is a +1. This guy can do any role based on what the team needs. We'll start with the healer. It is arguably the most important part. Without a healer, you'll never break their defenses unless you make yourselves equal by killing their healer when your healer is killed. The healer makes up the entire team. If he falls, the rest of the team falls with him. Next up is the sniper. The sniper is another very important role. A sniper can give you vision and call out when someone is behind you to protect the healer. You can see now why I made them equal, because without a good sniper, your team is very unprotected from the back. A good sniper can make safe picks too, without your team risking lives, allowing them to push up and take objectives. After the sniper comes the damage. The damage is basically the distraction. Your tank or defenses will fall if there's enough of this and not enough damage to counter it. Once your tank falls, your healer is an easy kill. Damage will distract the infiltrators from coming from behind because they will have to protect their healer and tank to make sure it doesn't fall. Infiltrators are the next most important part. These guys can get behind enemy lines and take out the healer and or sniper, allowing your team to get through the defenses a lot easier. This role is not required, but if the enemy sniper is better than your sniper, you'll need one of these. Last is the tank and +1. These guys aren't very important unless you fail at one of these stages. If your sniper sucks, you'll need a +1 to take a damage roll to break through the defenses easier. Not only that, but you'll need the +1 to take care of the infiltrators if your sniper isn't very skilled or your damage is terrible too. The tank is a tank. It's a role that nobody wants, but can be decently effective. It's not an unimportant role, but the least important. If you have a tank go into a role other than tank, just beware that you'll have to defend your healer a lot more. That being said, all of the stages can be effective at defending a healer. So where do you fall in these roles? Well, there are a few rules when it comes to the hierarchy. The first rule is that you want to choose your favorite role. To be 100% honest, if you pick the role you're best at, you have a higher chance of winning right off the bat. The second rule is that you only switch when you're not being effective in the role you have chosen. If you start as sniper, don't switch off sniper unless their sniper is better than you can't kill anyone at all, or you're being heavily countered. If you can make 2 kills before you die, it's better for the overall team than switching to a role that is already covered. Additionally, you don't want to stick to sniper if you're losing to the enemy sniper, or aren't adequate in that role. There is no point in wasting time playing a role if you're just going to be countered by everyone and die before even killing one person. Stop telling yourself that you're going to kill someone if you've already died 3 times without making a single kill. Third rule is that when you do switch, you switch to a role that is needed. If your healer is shit and you can heal, switch to healer and tell yours to switch to damage or something else. If you're sniping and get heavily countered, switch into healer if the healer is bad, switch into damage if the damage is awful, switch into infiltrator if the enemy sniper is very skilled. The last rule is that you don't want to lose motivation. Don't leave games. Most games are genuinely recoverable by one switch alone. There are going to be times where your team is just not skilled enough, even after you make 4 picks. Just accept it. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter if you lose. So what happens if the enemy team has a sniper that is just as good? Well, for one, don't switch off sniper. You need a good distraction for the enemy team. And if they're truly equal, then your sniper should be able to make picks without worrying about the enemy sniper, while the infiltrator deals with him. If their sniper and healer are just as good as your team's, then use the damage to your advantage. Have the +1 go damage and help the team distract the enemy sniper so the infiltrator can kill him easier. Finally, the last thing you need to know for the hierarchy is that you're always effective. If you aren't being effective, switch roles to one you can be effective at that needs picked. If all of the roles are picked, implying you are the +1, then do what is best for you. If you can't snipe, if you can't heal, if you can't infiltrate, then damage. Everyone can damage. It takes a brain-dead human to play Junkrat. I hate that hero, but he works. Anyone can play him. All it takes is a mouse and a W key. Just spam that shit. Someone on your team will compensate for you. It's that simple. Alright, really quick, I'll explain the drawing. This part explains what roles go where. The red is the enemy, the X on the sniper means that if he isn't effective, he should switch to I, infiltrator. The equals between the sword and the gun mean that infiltrators are basically just damage. They're not really unequal, you just need damage to distract while your infiltrator can do damage. Without damage to distract, your infiltrator is easily killed. This part explains the actual hierarchy. The sniper equals healer. If not effective, switch to infiltrator. If not effective, switch to damage. If not effective, go to YouTube and look up some tutorials or play against the AI. JR means Junkrat, as in Junkrat is the easiest DPS. There is no excuse to need to move from damage unless the tank role needs filled. This part explains the equivalency. If your sniper is better than the enemy sniper, your team can easily win. If your sniper is equal, then you have to have a better medic. If your medic is better, you have an easier chance at winning. If they are equal, the damage is what matters the most. You have to have more damage to distract the enemy team. This allows infiltrators to go behind enemy lines as they'll be distracted trying to save the tank. Easy support kills. And, essentially, if your infiltrator isn't good enough, you'll most likely lose. You'll need at least one of these roles to be adequate to have a chance at the game. There are few chances you'll have where the tank and +1 matter more than the enemy teams. And the very last part of this diagram is that if everyone is equal, much like in professional play, then you'll have to choose counters. You will deliberately have to switch heroes because you have to douse the fire. You are the water. If you don't, you lose. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you would like to see more, click the subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check me out on Twitter at Beemer Overwatch and on twitch.tv/BeemerWT. Also, I will be doing this kind of video every week and answering some of your questions, so feel free to leave a question in the comments below or message me on Twitter. Thanks for watching.